No one could have predicted how this story would end. A predator targeted children and then made one of the most controversial deals in Canadian history. Between November 1980 and July 1981, children and teenagers began disappearing across British Columbia. They were last seen hitchhiking, walking home from school, or out with friends. Their families were desperate for answers. Then, bodies started being discovered. 11 young people, ages 9 to 18, had been taken and their lives stolen. The community was terrified. Parents were afraid to let their children leave the house. Police had a suspect, Clifford Olson, a career criminal with a long history of offenses. He had been seen with some of the victims before they disappeared, but investigators didn't have enough evidence to charge him. Then, in August 1981, Olson was arrested on suspicion of assaulting 2 young girls. While in custody, he offered police a deal that shocked the nation. He said he would reveal the locations of the victims' bodies, but only if the government paid him $100,000. The money would go into a trust for his wife and infant son. It was an unthinkable proposition, paying a confessed offender for information, but families were desperate to find their children and bring them home. After intense debate, the government agreed. Olson led police to the burial sites and confessed to all 11 cases. He showed no remorse. He bragged about what he had done, and he collected the money. In January 1982, Clifford Olson was convicted on 11 counts and sentenced to life in prison. He became one of Canada's most notorious offenders. The cash for bodies deal remains one of the most controversial decisions in Canadian legal history. Public outrage was immediate. How could the government pay a monster? But for the families, it meant finally being able to lay their children to rest. Olson spent the rest of his life in prison, repeatedly seeking parole and being denied. He passed away in 2011, still showing no remorse for what he had done. 11 children and teenagers lost their lives. They were innocent, trusting, and stolen far too soon, and the man who took them profited from their deaths. The case led to changes in how negotiations with offenders are handled, and it remains a painful reminder of how far some people will go and how desperate families can become. Click the link in the description to watch the full documentary. Subscribe for more true crime stories from the darkest corners of the world.